Good morning. So another week or so has gone by since I've done my last video. And I apologize in advance for those of you down in the States. You have not even celebrated your Thanksgiving yet, so I'm not so sure how many of you are actually thinking about Christmas cards. But before the month is over, most of us will want to have them done, made up, and sent out. So I want to show you a few different ideas that I've come up with. Very simple, easy, quick to do, and you can make a whole bunch of them at a time, send them out, and you should be ahead of the game at that point, hopefully. Especially if you have already most of the supplies on hand. This is a simple one that I did. I just took the basics of a wreath, or the right now on Pinterest is all about the embroidery hoops and the flowers and things like that. There's also like horse rein wreaths and things like that. So I thought it would be kind of cool to create my own kind of loose interpretation of that. So what I've done is I've taken hang on, let me see if I can grab it. So I don't have a stamp, unfortunately, but I do have the stamping, the emboss writer. I've had these forever and they still go strong. So these are worth your money. I don't remember, they're by Zig. I don't remember the price of these. I got them at Michael's forever ago. I'm sure some of us might still have these, and I'm sure there's newer versions of it. So all I did was I drew a loose circle and put some white embossing powder on it, and then I heat embossed it. This is just a Stampin' Stuff, just a plain white, nothing too spectacular. You could do glitter if you wanted to, by all means, And if you don't have any of these tools, use a marker or use a Sharpie or use your alcohol inks, whatever you feel like, maybe a gel writer. I tried a kind of a white marker. It did not show up very well on this paper, unfortunately, but maybe a paint pen or something like that would work better. So that would be something you can look into. So all I've done basically was cut out some different shapes, some leaf. This is a Martha Stewart, kind of a ferny leaf cutter kind of thing, pine bough maybe. And this one I got a while back. I don't remember, but it's another leafy design. If you don't have stamps, just cut your own leaves or just do a stylized version. You can do that with just a simple circle and then cutting part of the circle, folding it in half, and then gluing it on. And then I just use some flowers and flatback pearls rather, and just some ribbon. You could use ribbon rather, but I used twine in this case. This one was from my Valentine's box, and then this one was, I don't know, just a random teal colored one that I got somewhere, probably $1 or $2. But and then I heat embossed some design on the back, stamped on the inside. Is it crooked? Probably. Do I care? No, because in the end, it's not really going to matter too much, as long as it's not sideways or anything like that. It's just, you're trying to get your cards made, especially when you're in kind of a rush. You don't need to be perfect at it. It just needs to look decent. And then what I do is I usually do a matching envelope. So in this case, I just did a snowflake, and then on the back, I just did it where you would normally seal it. If you have those sealing stickers for Christmas, great. If not, this is a great alternative, which I often do on most of my envelopes. I try to match things together. So all I've done was basically, and yeah, it looks a little bit rough because the powder, I didn't have the anti-static thing or whatever, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I am not overly concerned by these things. It's just something that, it is what it is. Let's put it that way. It doesn't really matter too much. So all I do is I cut a bunch of these out at the same time of colors I would like to use. And then I just stick it in one of these little tray thingies. Very simple to just put together a whole bunch at the same time. And then I just use regular glue. There's really nothing spectacular to it. The beauty of it is that something like this in an assembly kind of way, especially if you do just do parts of it at a time, which I'm very fond of, creating things in stages. So if you don't have time for the whole shebang, so to speak, then just, do a little bit at a time. So one day you cut out all your pieces. The next day you get your colors or your cardstock together or whatever. I like this oak tag or the craft paper because it really, it looks country-ish, right? So, which is really a popular kind of decorating thing right now. But you see, I'm not very precise. I'm just adding it on there. I'm not going to be too concerned about having every piece of it stuck down because it makes it look more 3D, which is quite nice. And then just sort of tuck it away, and then you can add your flowers. I have usually flowers done ahead of time, usually, not always, but usually. And then I just choose the coordinating colors. As you could do these flowers in like a metallic, that'd be cool. I cut this one out of a metallic mixture from a paper pad. Works just as well. Anyway, you could even do regular twine if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. You can mix it up as much as you want. Let's see. I try to do even numbers of each or odd numbers of each. So in this case, red. So this is just my Valentine's one. It's just jute. Nothing too special. And then I just do a little knot. I usually work from the spool itself, because in that way I find I waste less of the jute. Sorry. And things never work when you want it to, because you're on camera. There we go. And I don't think my hands are awake yet. And then you can just sort of adjust it. There. Grab some scissors. I don't make the tails too long, but just long enough to give you the general idea. There we go. And if you make a bunch of these, they look quite cute together. So, in some of these I did gold stars, and others I did silver. You could do buttons. That would be really cute. You could, if you didn't have stickers, you could just cut out a little star from some white paper and put that on there. You could pop it up with a little foam tape if you wanted to. You could do buttons. I kind of like the button idea because it has the same pattern that I do sometimes. So it just gives it a little bit more oomph, if you get my meaning. So I'm going to let that dry and I'll finish those off later. And then I will actually do the buttons on these ones because I think they're cute. You could use a glue dot if you wanted to, if you were concerned that the glue would seep through. But this dries clear, so I don't think it really matters. But it's just supposed to look like a little bauble, a little decoration that hangs inside the wreath. If you had a little angel cutout or something like that, that'd be cute too. You could do whatever you feel like. And then all I do is add my little flat back pearls. If you don't have those, use your dimensional glue. Puffy paint you could use. You could do a bunch of different things. I don't know. You could use your imagination. And some of these are great to make ahead of time because they make great gifts for teachers, daycare providers, a family member, you know, things like that. You can wrap them up as a little set for someone and then give it to them as a gift. Ahead of time, of course, so they can send them out. But if you give them to teachers, they can say thank you to their students, you know, for helping out in class or different things like that. So I'm going to let these dry and then I will put those together later. But in order to show you, what I would do is I have this I've had this one for quite some time. It's an old Christmas paper pad. Signature Christmas? Who's it by? My Mind's Eye. It's a lovely paper pad, as you can see. So they have quite a bit of embellishments and things like that. But what I tend to do is I will take one of these papers. So this is a very plain one, but you can choose more decorative if you want to. But this is actually not bad. What we could do is we can cut a strip of this and then use that as our wrapper. Does that make sense? So all I would do is I would take my cards and my envelopes. I would include the other two also, but for now, this is how I would do it. And I would put this on here. Let me move this out of the way so you can see better. This is how I used to wrap my cards all the time. And you could use clear cellophane too if you wanted to show more of the pictures. And then I would just put a little sticker right on here. Do I have one available? Sure I do. Look at that. So all I would do is I would just take a sticker and then you can seal it up. Or if you're selling them at a craft fair or something like that, you can absolutely put your name on there if you have those. It's a little late for craft fair items at this point, but if you're making this as a gift, you can say a gift for you or it's a great hostess gift. That'd be kind of cool too. So that's how I would tend to wrap this. Instead of doing a whole thing and wasting paper on it, I would use my scrap papers and I would do it like that. Anyway, that's one type of card. And the other type of card is a very simple one also. I had this cardstock available still at my Dollar Tree, I believe. But I just made something a little bit different out of it. So this one I cut out of a paper pad that I got at the Dollarama. It has some pretty gold foil. I thought it sort of mimicked the pine cone kind of feel. And then there's a couple of striped ones. So it's the same kind of deal as you would do this one. You would just use a little bit of tape and some jute or twine if you have it. You could use ribbon. You could use flowers if you really wanted to, if you didn't want to do it too specific for Christmas kind of thing. So if you didn't like true Christmas colors, you know, red and green, you can go completely different and choose something a bit more modern, let's put it that way, and it would look just as great, I think anyway. So that's a different option. I'll finish this later, otherwise this video will be very long, but it's the same kind of idea, and then you put your sentiment on the inside. Same kind of deal, which looks really kind of cool. Now, the last one, this one I really had a lot of fun with. I tried to take the common, most symbol of whatever the season is and try to reinterpret it in a way where it's easily remade in multiple ways, or in at least as a simple way as possible. So in this case, it was a sleigh. So all I've done was taken a circle cutter. So a circle cutter, and I cut my circle. So this is the 2.5 inch circle or 2-inch circle. And so let's say this is the size of it. I'm not going to use this side. Let's go this way. So all I've done is taken a circle and then I've cut them into 3 pieces. Well, no, that's not true. Scratch that. What I've done is cut off the edges and then I've cut it into 3 pieces. So what I've done is gone like this, just taking a little bit off of this side and a little bit off of this side. Okay, so you're going to save one of these. So you see the general shape here. You're going to save one of these and you're going to discard the other one, or you can use it for whatever, but that's the one we're not going to use. Then what you're going to do is you're going to cut this one into thirds. It does not have to be precise. You don't have to measure. Each one's going to look a little bit different from the other. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It makes it look more authentic, I think. And then this top part, what I've done is I have cut a little bit of each side with a smaller circle punch. So, which you can do, it depends on how big you make your sleigh. So here's just a 1 inch, I was going to say. And then all you're going to do is you're going to hold it like this, and then you're going to slide it in there, and then you're going to cut a little bit off, just a sliver, so you have a little divot. And then you're going to do the same to the other side. You're going to line it up as best as you can. For some reason, there we go. Come on. Just this little bit. Just enough to give you the idea. And that's all you're going to do. And then you will take some black cardstock and you will cut them to 4 inches length for this 2-inch circle. It's your best, from what I can put together, it's the best way of doing this. So you have the one, and then I'm going to steal one from here because the other one's probably on the bottom. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut off a little sliver on your cutter. It doesn't matter how big, but it has to be smaller than this piece here. And then you're going to cut the bottoms on an angle, and then you're going to put them on the inside like this. Then you are going to take your middle piece, and your end piece should be as close to the bottom as possible. So that'll be your guide, so that this little part where the blade of the sleigh would be, let's see if I can give you a little bit more. There we go. All right, and then this one's going to go over here. You're going to make sure it's on there straight. And then you're going to move them a little bit closer together. This would be easier if you were to glue things separately. I'm just trying to show you how I piece it together. So that way, and then this will be the steering part of the sleigh. Okay, and that'll be like that. So that is basically your sleigh. And then you can decorate it as you go. Now, what I've done, I don't have a whole lot of this paper because the pad only came with a few of them, but I've cut them out of wood, the wood pattern of the paper cardstock. So this one is from paper pad. Which one was it again? I'm sure you could find it at oh my goodness, Michael's Still. It's one of their hot buy ones. It's the Whiskey Barrel. So it has all the different sheets of paper, but this is the one that had the wood somewhere. It also has the brick, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. So this is the one that I've used, which lends itself really nicely to this kind of project. So all you're going to do is you're going to make sure you offset the center one up a little bit so that it looks like all separate pieces, right? Then when you put it onto your card or onto, you can put it on a tag as a Christmas gift tag, right? So you do whatever you feel like. So you do something like that, and then you get your little fern pieces out, right? You can do it that way, that way. Just line it all up in there. You can move it up a little bit. Yep, not too far. And you put your little smile. You can do whatever you want. If you wanted a little bit more non-traditional kind of feel to your card. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Like I said, that's 3 different ways of doing some cards. Very simple, very easy to do in multiples, which is what I like about this. Get your stamps out. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a non-traditional card because not everybody likes the traditional colors, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a question of, you know, trying to design around the modern colors. So you can do these a little bit more offset, but you know, if you didn't want to do black, do gray or white or whatever you feel like. That's okay. You can choose whatever color you like. This would look really cute on like a really rustic kind of, not just oak tag, but you know, like a brick pattern in the background or something like that. Or, for instance, what should I call it? This would be cute on some different glitter backgrounds if you wanted to dry emboss these and then put that on there. That'd be kind of cute too. But it's 3 different ways that you can pack it or, you know, create cards simply and do it in a bulk setting kind of thing. And then you can do a whole bunch at the same time and you'll be done with it. And then when you're giving them as gifts or you're wrapping them up for yourself or you're trying to sell them at a craft fair, for example, just wrap it up with a little piece of scrap paper. You could even use cellophane if you wanted to, cut into strips. I've done that before. That looks really nice because then you get to see the whole picture. And then you can put your name on there, whatever you feel like. But for gift giving, this would be great too, because you could just put on there to and from and then call it a day. Yeah, don't forget to do happy holidays if you want to, or Merry Christmas, or just smile for fun, or just a hello, you know, and you can stamp a sentiment on the inside if you have one. If not, just write a little note to say you're thinking of them, and that is it. That's how I do my cards usually. I try to do it assembly line style, and I usually have a few different designs that I like to work with. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.